with the avionics chip. It gives you an area where you could start marking areas, so if you start seeing a pattern, it's faster for you to run to another place it's set up the same way. But the biggest thing is when you're on the tournament trail or you're fishing a tournament and you're going out there and you're pre-fishing, I'm always looking for the plus values. I kind of know what to look for on the point system. I know that, you know, the points and the humps and the creek channels, the ridges and the flats, those are good, but I'm always trying to put plus systems together. And when you understand that, that's a lot of what the guys that are really good at it, and they might not know, but they're able to think, you know, on the fly and start putting little things together that gives them that awareness of something might be going on in a certain place because of these plus values: wind, cover, rain, mud lines, bait fish, wormwood, movable cover that floats across the surface into pockets, and those create the bite. Now the interesting thing is I have a couple maps down here on the boat, and one's of Lake Mead and one's of Havasu. The thing that I have to do, that I have to worry about at Lake Mead and Lake Havasu, is Lake Mead, I haven't been there for 4 years, and the water depth is going to be down from full pool. It could be over 100 feet. I have to get on the water to actually see where the water line is, and then I get on my electronics, my Lowrance, have my avionics chip in there, find my line. If it says 100 foot deep or 100 foot down, I'm going to find 100 foot down and then start from there and start calculating my depth and looking across the lake on key areas. And the difference of that between Havasu is Havasu, it's only going to fluctuate so much every year. You know, it's not going to go drastically down. So it's a more consistent bite at Havasu, and they have a lot of elements, plus values, and cover. They put a lot of fish habitat in that lake that really has made it simpler to go and check out certain areas quicker to see if fish are holding those areas. But I want to go through a little thing that, you know, I write down notes before I get on the lake. There's key things I want to think about, and I don't even know how this video is going to come out, because this is really the hardest part of fishing a tournament and figuring it out. But this is where, if you really start paying attention, write good notes, keep an open mind, listen to Doc Talk. You know, the biggest thing on Doc Talk is areas. It's figuring out what the fish are kind of doing and then fishing your technique in those areas. So that's why Doc Talk, people shouldn't listen to Doc Talk. You always listen to Doc Talk because you want to take that one little piece of information and use it to your advantage. And it might just be finding the area where the fish are, and then you go catch it. So let's look at something like this. The biggest thing what I do when I go into a tournament is I'm going to be fishing Lake Mead and Lake Havasu coming up. My biggest thing, my number one priority, is figuring out the lake levels. I want to know where the lake is at, where the water line's at, and then I build from there. When I go to my next spot, when I start looking at these maps, I'm looking for my point system. I'm looking for points, humps, creek channels, ridges, and flats. Those are my 5 point systems. And on top of that, if I combine any of these together, if I have a long point that comes up to a hump that falls into the creek channel, I'll start adding numbers to it. So I'll have a 3. If I have a combination of all of these, I might have a 4. So those are some key things that I do real quick. Number 3 is cover. What is the seasonal cover? Tules, grass line, weed. Is it moving? Is there mud lines? Is there floating debris on the surface? Cover's a big, you know, even docks, that's all cover, but that is secondary to the structure element. Plus value, that's the biggest thing that I really look for. I'm looking for bait. I'm looking for the time that the bait's going to be there in a certain area. I'm looking for time for shadows. I'm looking for wind. I'm looking at a combination of all this stuff in conjunction with my point system and cover to create a good pattern. Here's the key thing that I do that a lot of people probably don't, is when I pre-fish, I fish like you guys. This is one of my, I fish normal fishing, going down the bank, not thinking very hard, testing the top, middle, bottom, and I'm fishing like you guys. When it comes to tournament fishing, I fish like me, and we'll get into that. That's the difference what I do compared to a lot of other people is I fish like you when I want to just burn the water or figure out what they're doing, and then when it comes tournament time, I start fishing like me. And then the big thing is understanding the top, middle, bottom. You know, when I'm pre-fishing, my top, I'm looking at spooks, frogs, buzzbaits, pop-Rs, swim baits. I'm looking at a mid-range of a style of baits that'll cover the top water. My middle, I'm looking for spinner baits, rip baits, tubes, fat fly, swim baits for the middle, and then the bottom is basic drop shot, jig, and sea rig. And when I'm pre-fishing, I'm looking for two types of spots. I'm looking for the K1, which is just keepers to put a limit in the boat, and I'm looking for my K2 spots that have kickers. I'm going to find fewer of them, but if I find those are the ones that are going to win me the tournament. This is just going to maybe put me in the money. So my key is finding these spots. This is my backup if I need to fill out the limit.